Hey guys, I hope you're doing great today. This is our chapter number 2 in which we are going to talk about one of the most important concepts in cloud computing, I would say that. So it is actually IAM, Identity and Access Management in Google Cloud Platform. Whether you are an AWS user or Azure user, I mean your infrastructure is on AWS, Amazon Web Services, or if your infrastructure is on Azure, you have to deal with identity and access management. So, guys, as a cloud engineer on working on Google Cloud Platform, you are responsible to provide appropriate access, the only required access to the developers, to the software engineers, or your juniors, interns, or colleagues. And IAM plays an important role so that only the required access is provided to the person who is demanding access to the cloud resources. I hope you're getting my point. Let me share it with a scenario. For instance, you're a senior DevOps engineer. Your infrastructure is running on Google Cloud Platform, right? Now, one of the colleagues or a software developer joins your company, your IT company, and you have to give him or her the access to only cloud functions, which is a cloud service, just like Lambda on AWS. So, why should you provide him or her access to compute engine, to cloud storage, to BigQuery? You are going to give her or him only the access to the cloud function so he or she can write the code and test the serverless applications, etc. So that was actually a scenario. Now, for instance, if another junior DevOps engineer joins your team and you're going to give him or her access to VM instances so that he or she can play with creating VMs on Google Cloud Platform. He or she can create Ubuntu VMs or Debian VMs or even Windows VMs on Google Cloud Platform. So there is no need to give him or her access to cloud storage, to BigQuery, to cloud functions and other services, right? So that is what IAM means, identity and access management. Only the required access should be given to your team members. And if you are an admin, you have the admin role, you have a big responsibility on your shoulders because you are the access provider, and your team members, your colleagues, the software development team, the software engineering team, or even QA teams, they will need access to the cloud resources. So it is one of your key responsibilities. It is one of your major responsibility to give the proper access using identity and access management. So if someone needs access to compute engine, he or she should have the access to the resources of compute engine on Google Cloud Platform. If someone needs only storage bucket, he or she should have access to the storage buckets, and he or she should not have access to other resources, to other services on Google Cloud Platform. And it is actually under one organization or under one project. So that's what we are going to talk about today. And I have this GitHub repository. I will definitely share the link. And I hope that in the previous lectures, whatever we are covering on YouTube, I have been giving you the access to the proper repository as notes on GitHub. So I have also created some overview and general notes so that you can have a quick and a global overview of what is IAM. What does IAM mean? And as a DevOps engineer or as a cloud engineer, what should I know about IAM? So let's get started and make sure that you subscribe, DevOps Molvi on YouTube. So this is our chapter number 2, and in the next chapter we are going to learn about VMs, how we can create VMs. So first of all, we have to create our base, and this is what IAM. So let's get started. So IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. Okay, it is Identity and Access Management, and this is actually the hierarchy in GCP, how this works. And I have created this short note that for the proper hierarchy, we should create an organization in our account. The resources are grouped into a single node. The good structure should look like as my organization, then folders, and then projects, and then resources. Okay, this should be the hierarchy of your cloud infrastructure on Google Cloud Platform. But it will work for organizations that have G Suite or that have cloud identity. For my personal use, I can use GCP resources without having any organization or without having any folders. There would be no organization. I will show you. And we can still create projects. We can still have our resources created in any specific project. So this is actually the Google Cloud Platform resources hierarchy. So under organization, you can see that it is subdivided into multiple folders. For instance, this is Department A, or I would say that this is development team, okay, and this is software engineering team. So now in development team, we have this team as backend, and we have this team as front end. So the resources created for backend should be in this folder. The resources created for front end team should be under this folder. And after that, you can see we can create multiple projects in these specific folders, and then we can create resources in these projects. So that's how the hierarchy of Google Cloud Platform works. You should know that we have organization, we have folders, and folders are subdivided into multiple other folders, and then we can have our projects, and we can create multiple projects in a single folder, and then we can create resources like storage buckets, VMs, VPCs, networks, firewall rules, so on in each project. So we are going to work in a project, by the way, but this is for your knowledge. You must know how Google Cloud Platform hierarchy works. It is like organization, folder, and your project. And then in your project, you can create your resources. Now, back to IAM. In the third point, there will be a main account, like this is my email address from where I have signed into my account, and there can be multiple service accounts. Now there would be another term that would be extensively used in IAM, which is a service account. What is a service account? The service accounts are different and not like the actual account abc@gmail.com. This is actually an actual account, but the service account is a little bit different account, and we cannot use service account to log into our Google Cloud Platform. We need an actual account to log into our Google Cloud Platform. These service accounts are created by Google Cloud Platform so that we can access particular GCP services using that service account. So you can say that it's a non-human user. That is actually one of the shortest definitions of a service account. This is actually a non-human user, and it is created by Google Cloud Platform. For instance, let me share a scenario. If I want to use cloud storage, I can use a service account, and then I can give proper role or access to that service account, and it will be able to use the cloud storage service. So that's how we create service accounts, and then we give proper access, proper roles to that service account, and then the users can access to that service like cloud storage, compute engine, load balancer, and so on. So that is actually the service accounts, and the definition is that service accounts are different and not like the actual accounts, and service accounts are created by Google Cloud Platform so that we can access particular GCP service like GCP storage, compute engine, cloud functions, etc. And we will need that service account to access a particular GCP service. Now what? Permissions, don't worry, we are going to have a lab session so that we can practically see how we can create service accounts and how we can give access to any service account. Number 4, permissions to the GCP resources are given in the form of roles. And guys, in order to simply understand it, like we have permissions in Linux, right? You know that. We have write permissions, we have read permissions, we have executable permissions. And just like root has all the access, root user has all the permissions on a Linux system. Similarly, we have viewer, editor, and owner roles so that we can create and give role to any user. We can create our own roles, and those roles are known as custom roles. Now there is actually a difference in each role, and we can add service account user for a certain user to grant access for creating resources. That is actually a practical stuff, and we are going to do it. So the nodes are created here in the repository, then you can use those nodes. So I will skip and I will move towards role so we can better understand what does viewer role mean, what does editor, and what does owner. So there is a huge difference between each role. Now what? There are actually 4 roles on Google Cloud Platform. Number 1, which is browser, and in this role we just have access to browse GCP resources. We unfortunately we will not be able to create any VM, we will not be able to create any storage bucket. That account only browser access, so the user of that account will be only able to browse those GCP resources, and he or she will not be able to create new resources like creating new VM or GCP storage bucket, etc. So this is actually the basic role in Google Cloud Platform. Okay, now what? We have editor role, in which we can also create, update, and delete most of the Google Cloud resources. See the list of included permissions. We are going to see what kind of permissions that can be included in this editor role. So basically the editor role will have the view, create, update, and delete permissions for the most of the Google Cloud resources, and he or she can create here or she can update and also can delete certain VM resources, etc. The editor access for compute engine, so that user can view, create, update, and delete GCP resources on compute engine, which is for VMs. Okay, and he or she can create new virtual machines, delete them, or update them. So this is actually the editor role. Now owner role, in which we will have the full access to most cloud resources. Okay, and this is actually the powerful role, I must say, and it has everything to the most of the Google Cloud resources, full access you can say. In the viewer role, the user can only view most of the Google Cloud resources. He or she cannot create new resources. So guys, these are actually the four roles that you must know in GCP: browser, editor, owner, and viewer. So in browser, the user can only browse GCP resources. In viewer, the user can view what is running on our Google Cloud infrastructure, on Google Cloud platform. And editor can modify resources, add or delete or update GCP resources. And owner is just like the root user on a Linux VM. So owner is the super user. He or she has all the powers to create resources, to create even user accounts, and he is actually the administrator. He or she can do whatever he or she wants to do. An owner is just like the super user, like we have root on Linux, right? The root user can even reboot servers. The root user can also update packages on a Linux VM. Similarly, we have the owner on GCP, and he or she has the full access to all the GCP resources running on a specific account on Google Cloud platform. So I am using my personal account, so I am the owner. Okay, I will show you. If I'm using my personal account, or if you are using your personal account, then you will definitely be the owner of your Google Cloud platform account. So now, in order to understand what is an organization, I have opened this Google Cloud document, and in which there is more information about organization. And we are not able to create any organization since I'm using my personal account. If you're working for any organization where they have G Suite, so you would be able to see how organization works on Google Cloud platform. But for personal accounts, an organization is not required. And you can see they are saying that an organization resource is available for Google Workspace and Cloud Identity customers. So for Google Workspace and Cloud Identity, they have the organization. And this is actually the top hierarchy. We have organizations, we have folders, and then we have projects under subfolders. So that is actually the organization. If you want to read more about it, I will definitely share the link in the description. And further, we have this information that if you are new to Google Cloud and have not created any project, the organization resource will be created for you. And when you log into the Google Cloud console and accept the terms and conditions, so we don't have to worry about creating organization. That would be created for us when we log in to cloud.google.com. And this is the link to access our cloud resources or access to Google Cloud platform, which is cloud.google.com. And you can sign in with your Gmail address. Okay, you can sign in. You can see I have this console button, and I would be able to log in using this console. So let me click, and since I am already logged in my Gmail address, using my Gmail address, so now you can see this is the main dashboard of my personal Google Cloud platform account. Now you can see we have this project. I have created this. My name is Faisal. So I have just created a sample project, and this is the project number, and this is actually the project ID, which is actually not changeable. We cannot change the project ID or project number once created. After that, we can create virtual machines, run a query in BigQuery, create a GKE cluster, and we can also create storage buckets. So this is actually the quick access. You can see tons of services that are offered by Google Cloud Platform. We can click on view all products, the user experience and user interface of Google Cloud Platform. I just love it. And now here you can see all the products of offered by Google Cloud Platform, and these three lines, or you can say navigation menu, you would be able to access any service. Now we have all products listed here, and most of the products that are most commonly used are IAM, cloud storage, compute engine, network services, and VPC network. And for developers, they use APIs and services and Kubernetes engine, and also BigQuery for data. Okay, and Cloud Run for CI/CD. So this is actually the list of all the products that are offered by Google Cloud Platform. And now you can see this is a literally a huge list, and we can have every information about every service here. And if I want to run scalable virtual machines and containers, I have these services: Compute Engine, Kubernetes Engine, VMware Engine, and Batch and Workload Manager. So these are all the services that come under compute. Similarly, we have storage, we have analytics for data, and in analytics, we can collect, store, process, and analyze large amounts of data. And these are actually services. We can easily search for any service. For instance, if I want to navigate to data flow, I can also search from here, data flow, and each service would be shown here in the search results. Now this is data flow, this is data flow API. So if you are feeling any problem, any trouble, you can simply search here. For instance, if I want to search for compute, and you can see all the compute related services will be shown here. So this is actually pretty easy to navigate to any service. Now there should be a question in your mind that there are actually tons of services. You can see the list is literally very long, and there are a lot of services. Like we have CI/CD. This would be of our interest as a DevOps engineers. We have Cloud Build, Container Registry, and Artifact Registry, Cloud Deploy, and GitLab. So these services, do I have to learn all the services? My answer would be no, because you have to learn as a DevOps engineer, you have to learn only the specific services. So in CI/CD, we have these services, so you must learn about these services. Okay, we have compute engine, we have VPC, we have network services, we have Google Kubernetes engine. I would say that as a DevOps engineer, you should know about these 5 or 6 top services for DevOps engineers. Similarly, for site reliability engineer, the services are like logging and monitoring. And for data and analytics, the services are like BigQuery. So it's not like that you have to learn about all the services, because definitely it would become literally so overwhelming. Oh, there are a lot of services. Do I have to learn all of them? And my answer would be no. You should be specific. And in this Google Cloud Platform lecture series, we will cover only those services that are important for DevOps point of view. And for relaxing you and feeling you comfortable, I would list down only services like Compute Engine, VPC, Google Kubernetes Engine, GKE, CI/CD, and Terraform on Google Cloud Platform. So these are actually 5 or 6 services, and IAM as well, identity and access management. So 5 or 6 services would be enough for DevOps engineer to know about Google Cloud Platform. So we are now on our first service. So now I would navigate to IAM and admin. Okay, identity and access management and admin. So I hope that now you must have the idea about all the products offered by Google Cloud Platform and how you can navigate to any service. You can use these three dots or three lines and you can go to any service. For instance, if I want to create VMs, I can use VM instances. And for today, I would go to IAM and admin, and we are going to discuss about identity and access management. So you must see, now you can see all the service accounts that I have created, and you can see this is my email address and I am the owner of this account. Okay, and I have full access to all the GCP resources. After all, the cost would be deducted from my credit card or my debit card, so I'm the owner of this personal account. And you can see I have created other service accounts just to know how IAM works on Google Cloud Platform. This is now, for instance, this is one of my brothers and friends. I created an account with only browser access. So recalling our roles, we have browser, we have viewer, we have editor, and we have owner. So now you can see some service accounts have the editor access, some have the owner. Only my account has the owner access, and this user has the browser access, so he can only browse the GCP resources. And this is also another user, and he has the full access to the compute resources. Now you must be thinking how we can grant access to any account. Okay, how we can grant access to any account. For instance, this is my grant access. You can, and the principal, by the way, sorry, the principal means the email address. Okay, now grant access and new principal, you can also read the documentation. And this is the beautiful thing of Google Cloud Platform. If you are confused about anything, you can just navigate to this question mark and you can find what does that term mean. So a principal can be user@gmail.com. Okay, now I would be using this as a principal, and it can be a service account as well, and it can be a domain. So if I want to give an access to any email address, that would be the principal. Now for instance, if I want to give DevOps Molvi at gmail.com, I've just created this, and I want, now this would be my principal. Okay, it is my principal, and I want to give this user a specific role to compute engine only. Okay, now you can see the roles that we have already discussed: browser, access to browse GCP resources, editor, and view, create, update, and delete most Google Cloud resources, see the list of included permissions, and we would be able to see what permissions are included, owner, full access to all the Google Cloud resources, and viewer. Okay, so you have the explanation of all the roles and you can read it. So for instance, if I want to give compute access, now I can search for compute, and you can see full control of all compute engine resources. I want DevOps Molvi at gmail.com has the full access to compute admin only. He can create resources on compute engine. And then, and after that, this is actually add IAM condition, which means that for how long that user should have the access to compute engine. So I can set conditions on one condition, on two conditions, on three conditions. So how we can add condition like condition 1, and that's how we can build our conditions. Now I will be using this service, and service is, now I will select the compute.google APIs. So only this service, this is actually my resource, and then after that I can add more conditions that this service is valid only after, for instance, Tuesday. Okay, and then I can choose the standard time like Pakistan, and this would be the standard time. So that user DevOps Molvi at gmail.com will have the access to compute engine, and it will expire after Tuesday. You can see after Tuesday. So that's how we can also set conditions for specific user, and I will save it. Okay, and now I can also add other roles. For instance, after Tuesday I want to give devopsmolvi at gmail.com the role of storage, so I can add more roles here. And now you can see this is condition 1, and that user devopsmolvi at gmail.com will have compute admin access or compute resources access according to that condition. So that is actually the example, the compute engine access on one condition. So what is the condition? You will have only compute access and it will expire after Tuesday. So that's how we can give and grant access to multiple principals, which are Gmail addresses. And after that I will save it. Click on save button, and the policy has been updated. So if I refresh it, so now you can see I have this devopsmolvi at gmail.com, and this user has only compute admin access, and it has been given this access on this condition. So that's how we can set the permissions for specific users. And you can see that that email address was actually the principal, so we have given that user only compute admin access on that one condition, that it would be expired after Tuesday. So that's how we can grant more accesses, more roles to that specific user. So after that, guys, we can have service accounts created as well. So as I said here, that a service account is a non-human user, and this service account is created by GCP so that we can access particular GCP services using that service account. But we can also create our own service account. Like you can see, I have created multiple service accounts for accessing some services. So there is a simple way to create any service account, and you can see for instance DevOps Molvi, and this is my service account ID. So that would be the email address which is generated by Google Cloud Platform, and this would be actually a non-human user. We cannot log in using this email to our Google Cloud Platform, and we can describe what this service account is used for. And now after that I can create and continue. So now I can grant the access to this service account, and that service account would be further used to access certain GCP resources. And this is the same way, just like we added a user earlier. I can select the role, I can give basic role and the viewer, okay, so that this user can view the resources. And I will not add any IAM condition, it is forever. And after that I can click on continue, and now you can see the permissions table. It says that displays roles inherited from the parent resources in the table below. So we have these resources for that service account, and then after that I will click on done, and I must have that service account created. Now there is also more explanation about a service account, and it says that a service account represents a Google Cloud service identity, such as code running on compute engine VMs, app engine, or system running outside Google. So that's what we create service accounts on our Google Cloud platform, and these are actually non-human users. So now you must be thinking, we have created service account. Now what's it used for? Some of the service accounts have keys. Now you can see some of the service accounts do not have the keys and some have the keys. So for instance, if I want to edit it and I want to see the details of this service account and it has the keys, we can see add a new key pair or upload a public key certificate from an existing key pair. So you can see I have created this key. Now using this key and service account, I would be able to access the compute engine resources. So that's what we create service accounts, and then we can attach public key to that service account, and then we have the private key. So after using private and public key pair, we can access our GCP resources like compute engine using that service account. That's it for today's lecture, in which we discussed a brief and general overview. I would not say it was brief, and we have a general overview of IAM, how IAM works on Google Cloud Platform, what are the roles, what are service accounts. I would say that that would be enough for a DevOps engineer to know about service account, to know about policies, and to know about how we can add and manage roles. So that was actually an introduction to IAM. In the next lab, we will also discuss how we can grant permission from one user to another user. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I will see you in the next lab, in which we are going to talk more about service accounts and how we can grant access from one user to another user. That would be a challenging lab. So I will watch you in the next session. Have a good one. Take care and bye.